All right, looks like we got everyone here to host and our special guest as well. So looks like we can go ahead and jump in. So again, thanks everybody for jumping on. This is the Avalanche Spaces Q&A with the Stake DAO team. We're really excited to have these key partners here with us today to talk a little bit about their platform and what they're trying to do in the space, as well as the partnership that we're building with Avalanche. And we're really excited to get to know them and a little bit more about what they are doing. So we are going to kind of kick things off here with some intros, and I want to bring on our special guests. So we have Hatashi and Julien from Stake DAO. So Julien, why don't we start off with you? Why don't you give us a little bit of intro to yourself and what you do for the team?
Hello, Avalanche. Yeah, thanks for having us. It's a great pleasure to be on this call Q&A. So yeah, a little bit background about myself. I'm Julien Boutaloup. I've been in a blockchain space for quite some time. I used to be in a Bitcoin space. So in beginning of 2011, late 2011, and then end up in the ecosystem of Ethereum, and then became more into the different blockchains. So my background and my skills are more around mathematics and computer science. So I used to do like machine learning, like a bench of artificial intelligence. My like very low level, so C++ in embedded systems, and then been building different companies, and lately also been involved in different like arbitrage, liquidations, flash loan through Stake Capital, and then we built Stake DAO for retail, which is decentralized exchange from buying assets, buying crypto, selling crypto soon, getting involved in different strategies, making sure that you can do the best trade, so swapping assets, and also making like it's basically a decentralized exchange, like using a centralized exchange, using the same kind of user experience, user interface, but more like in a non-custodial, so trustless, permissionless platform where you can do everything that if you were on a centralized exchange. So we're also going to introduce like getting involved in derivatives, futures, options, all different things. I'm also a co inside the team of Curve.finance, which is the biggest auto market maker for stablecoins. I also do also involved in Rect.news, which is the like underground investigative journalistic kind of news that we're doing in the DeFi space, and then also involved in Blackpool, which is a quantitative hedge fund for NFTs. But yeah, very excited to talk about Stake DAO, how we're planning to build on top of Avalanche, introducing different strategies, and also the staking as a service, and all different products that we're planning to build on top of Avalanche.
Awesome. Thanks, Julien, for the background. It's great to have you on, and great to be working with you on building this out. So looking forward to getting to know more about your platform. So why don't we kick it over to Hatashi, and why don't you introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do for the team?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much for having me here. So, as mentioned, I'm Hatashi. I work across Stake DAO, Blackpool, and Rect, also predominantly focusing on product and driving good outcomes for us on business process. And yeah, generally, I guess being like a bit of a man that wears many hats. So as Julien described, Stake DAO is a bit more targeted towards retail. So some of the things that we're really focusing on at the moment is onboarding new users into DeFi. So predominantly, I think driving outcomes there through both education and coming across to new chains such as Avalanche. So we're really excited to be here with you guys and to get involved with your community. Yeah, I'll keep it short because I'd really love to get into how Stake DAO and Avalanche can work together. but that's me.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for the intro, and we're excited to get into it as well. And just wanted to give everyone a heads up that we also have Luigi on the call, who is our director of DeFi at Ava Labs, and he is going to be co-hosting this with me, and we're going to get to know
Luigi. Luigi is the man, yeah.
And Luigi, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. I've gotten the time to spend with Julian and really got to know all these guys at Stake DAO. Really enjoying all that time with them and what they're building. You know, real quick on myself, I spent a lot of time in traditional finance, working as an institutional trader, and also been involved in the ETH and other communities since like 2016. But joined Ava Labs about 3 months ago, helping to build out the DeFi ecosystem, and very excited about working with Julian and a lot others that we'll be announcing shortly in the future. So yeah, let's kick it off now.
Yeah, awesome. Let's get into it. So I guess the first question, going off what you both had talked about, what are you excited about in terms of the future plans to build the platform with Avalanche?
Yeah, I mean, for me, what I want to do, what we want to do is basically, first we got involved in the staking, like phase of Avalanche that we do and provide this for our users on the platform, so people can stake and then earn rewards. Plus, what we're doing is like also inflation of the protocol. So soon, by staking inside our node, by running Avalanche, you can also earn additional rewards, not the inflation, just the inflation rewards from Avalanche, but also like from Stake DAO. So percentage of the profits that we, or the rewards that we doing on a weekly basis. So some SDT plus additional rewards that we're planning to introduce. But then the next phase for me is introducing the concept of strategies. So for example, building some advanced strategies on the top of the current stack that we have into Stake DAO. So for example, like US dollars, Bitcoin, and other stable coins. And this will come soon with other projects joining Avalanche, such as like project like Big Lending Market, maybe Aave, or like auto market makers such as Curve. And that's what we actually do on our side. We very specialize on building advanced strategies that can benefit as much as possible to the users. And this is something that we want to focus on, the next step after the validator. And after that, looking into more advanced DeFi projects, such as, like, for example, arbitrage, like all things like market maker, all different things. And when we have more products coming to Avalanche, this is something we really want to focus on that because of course of the cost, the fees, and also the speed.
Yeah, just to tag on top of that. So obviously, as Julien mentioned, you know, the speed and the cost are very favorable on AVAX, and being that our ethos is about onboarding new users into DeFi and providing those services, I think we'd really be focused on building out the marketability of AVAX to the wider, more traddy space. So one of the great features which we have on the Stake DAO website is direct acquisition of crypto assets from your credit card. You can also log in via email, and I think these functionalities exist on mainnet, given the favorability of AVAX to, you could say, lower ticket players. It would be amazing to get some of these features out there and continue to onboard more users into DeFi, specifically on AVAX. So as Julien says, you know, it's an iterative process, offering a validator and then building out more advanced strategies thereafter. But, you know, we could also do some fun stuff like bringing together the two communities. We've done a lot of different competitions and minted NFTs that the communities have created themselves. Learned a lot from new features that the community needs or wants as well. So we're really open to letting, you know, the family shape the direction.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially like we're running as Tashi mentioned, we're running the validator. So now we have access to the exchange chain, the platform chain, the contract chain. So obviously we can bring any contracts into the C chain, since it's an instance of the EVM, and this is something that we can easily bring some smart contracts that we've been working on, building internally into the protocol, and yeah, basically like create like develop an exchange assets. We can create some maybe another chain, a custom chain for running, I don't know, like a bridge across the stack that we have, and then also like getting maybe a subset of our NFTs that we have into the platform into Avalanche. So as you guys may know, we have this kind of gamification on top of the platform, on top of Stake DAO that's built using some NFTs, and we have a weekly snapshot that we operate to redistribute additional rewards. This is also something that we could use natively on Avax, on Avalanche.
Yeah, and that's really exciting stuff. Julian, one of the things you and I talked a lot about is kind of like liquid staking and some of the potentials there. Like from my perspective, DeFi, you want to be able to use every piece of collateral possible to kind of maximize yield. How do you see like liquid staking, kind of like fit into other Lego pieces in DeFi and actually allow people to really extract more value out of all their assets?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like for example, right now, what we would like to offer to our user that are staking inside our node on Avalanche is right now they're staking into it, but they don't necessarily do or have access to additional features on top of the fact that they're staking inside the validator. So liquid staking is more the concept of I can actually stake into the node, into Avalanche validator on Stake DAO, and then receive, like in traditional finance, like a bond, receive something that tell me or tell people that I've staked inside the validator, and then I can use this ticket or I can use those tokens to then participate in additional DeFi products. And this is what we really interested in. If you look at the paper from 2018 or late 2017 on the Stake Capital that actually originally initiate the stake DAO, I was actually making sure that we have liquid staking and also create the concept of liquid staking in the entire DeFi. Is basically having this concept of, as you mentioned, any asset that can be used as staking or any asset that you want to use it as collateral. And staking is not is also like one of them we want to use. So we could stake in Avalanche and then use those LP tokens, those staking tokens, to, for example, stake them into a strategy, and then we use this strategy to borrow asset against. So by staking in Avalanche node, what you could do, you could also like use those assets that you staked, so you earn the rewards of the inflation rate of Avalanche plus additional rewards such as SDT plus maybe performance fees of the entire DAO. So basically, by providing value to the DAO, by providing value to Avalanche, you also receive all the profits that, not all of them, but like a fractional ownership of the entire rewards of the DAO. And then you can also use the fact that you stake into it to lend those LP tokens inside the strategy, and you could borrow asset against. And by borrowing asset against against those LP tokens, what you can do, you can either leverage yourself, so you can rebuy Avalanche token to then restake them, so you can increase your leverage, your exposition, or you can hedge yourself, so you can either invest in some stable coin that you can then deposit inside the strategy of Stake DAO. That's the different things that you can do.
Yeah, I think you said that really beautifully, right? Because right now, when you stake AVAX or other coins, you can't really use that in any other way,
Exactly.
right? Siloed. Yeah. Whereas in traditional finance, you have bonds, you could post them as collateral and borrow against them and things like that. So that's going to be really exciting for users to be able to use in the future. Yeah. One thing, just in case some of the Avalanche community doesn't know everything about Stake DAO, they have this good opportunity to kind of hear more about it. I've been very impressed personally using the platform and working with you guys. But if there's one thing you want them to know, whether it's a specific feature, something coming, or even like something about the culture you guys are building that you want them to think about when they think of Stake DAO, what would you think that would be?
Yeah, that's good. It's a good question. I think Well, since Stake DAO is trying to be a decentralized exchange, and whatever value that we are able to extract or make, then we redistribute the entire profit, we redistribute the entire rewards back to the people that own a piece of the DAO. And my point is, we basically welcome anyone that share the same value as us. So we'll be working with anyone in the DeFi space that are working for the future of DeFi. And our competitors are people in traditional finance, but they are not people inside DeFi for us. So what we want is to work with everyone, and we want to work with the people that are providing value to this space. And if you if there's a feature that you guys want that we build, then feel free to reach out to us on Twitter or Telegram or Discord, and we'll be happy to build it. So what we're trying to build is like really buying assets, selling assets, strategies, making sure that you have the best trade possible, and without necessarily understanding how trading works, we are introducing more feature on trading. For example, like potentially, like maybe a closed look to high frequency trading, or maybe like futures, trading futures and options and all different things. But and then advanced strategies, and then using what DeFi can offer, for example, future NFTs on Avalanche, to then build this layer of gamification on top of the platform. So the more value we get into the DAO, then the more value is actually being distributed to the users. So it's really a project that is built, and it's built by the people. If you look at the contributors, it's built by the people. I mean, it's always funny to say that built by the people and for the people, but it's actually the truth. If you go to the project, anyone can participate. You just post a message on Telegram, Discord. If you want to build a feature, go to GitHub and then build it. And then you will also receive a portion of the tokens that make you an owner of the project. So inside the project, we don't actually, no one actually work for someone. We all work together. And that's the main difference maybe in most of the projects out there.
Yeah, no, that's once again, that's well said. I mean, I think that's what really attracted me to Stake DAO is kind of, it's truly decentralized from a governance perspective. It also ties nicely with Avalanche. We have over 1,000 validators, one of the more decentralized chains, even though it's pretty young. What have you thought about and seen so far with your very quick experience with Avalanche, and kind of how you think it stacks up in terms of layer ones versus others?
Well, man, I mean, you guys are something else in terms of documentation and making things super easy to build on top of. I mean, if you go to the website, then you can immediately, even if you don't have much experience of blockchain or coding, you can start. I mean, you can do everything. You can start your validator. You can get involved in tokens. You can integrate different exchange. I mean, all the different. It's super. The user experience and the user interface on the website is super easy for you to actually understand what to do and how to get involved. So I think if you're really new to this space, or if you have a lot of experience in maybe in other chain like Ether, to actually bring this expertise and this experience back to Avalanche using the bridge or yeah, sorry, I was mentioning that I'm not sure if you heard what I said, but basically the question for Luigi was how easy or what is actually make Avalanche different from maybe other blockchain, or what's the experience. I think like the fact that it's super easy to start building on Avalanche. I mean, the fact that if you find documentation really easy to read, and you can just copy and paste some example from directly from the website, and also the GitHub is really clear. You can start building your token, building your exchange, using the bridge, and also bringing some EVM compatible smart contracts into the project. I think it makes a really big difference for Avalanche in the community there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that experience has been great for you so far, and trying to make the whole process and DeFi easier for everyone. And one of the things that we've seen that you're building out that I think is really interesting, and I think the Avalanche community would love to know more about how it works now and in the future is, can you talk a little bit about what the NFT staking process is with Stake DAO, and how that works, and future plans for that, and how that could work with the Avalanche network.
Yeah, sure. So like any, if you look at traditional finance, or they usually use some exotic products, or they if you have access to something, and then they make you have access to something else because you already have access to something. And this is like all these kind of features in traditional finance they've really developed. Or like, for example, if you go to Revolut, you have this kind of like gamification on top of the app. And gamification is something that is very important in traditional finance, or like in outside of blockchain. And what we try to do here is using this kind of we started building this like about like 4 or 5 months ago. Is we made like some really good arts on the NFT. That's one thing. They look good and they're nice. But actually, what they provide is an entire new experience on the top of a DeFi project. And here, like Stake DAO, which is a decentralized exchange. So what we're trying to do is like trying to build on top of the platform an extra layer that if you have access to a specific NFT, or if you have access to something, like for example, if you provide value to the Euro pool, provide value into staking of Avalanche, plus you have an NFT that you stake, you can either use in this NFT to have access to specific features. For example, imagine if we build instant swap on Avalanche, we might at the beginning just give access to people that have a specific NFT. We have 3 types of NFTs. I mean, different categories, but 3 types. We have the common, the rare, and the unique. Unique is only 1, the rare is 10, and the common is 100. And those NFTs, by staking them, they give you access to an additional feature. And then on a weekly basis, we do the snapshot. For example, like tomorrow on Thursday, that will be when we trigger the snapshot. So we do a Merkle airdrop. And then when you stake this NFT, gives you access to a few more percentage in all the rewards that we're distributing. So for example, if we're making 100,000 US dollars a week rewards, then 10%, or it depends on what governance will say, the community, but you can select a percentage of this to go directly to people that actually have an NFT. So then you can either make some specific features only accessible to NFT people, but then NFT is just one feature across the entire gamification that we have. And then what we could do is, for example, those NFT are on Ethereum, but we could actually swap, cross, or bridge them into Avalanche. And then for the products that we're building specifically on Avalanche, and then, for example, the validator and all the different things, we could actually give them access, and they could stake into the platform and have access to this new kind of extra layer of gamification from, okay, you've been providing value to Euro, to USD, to BTC, plus you did a swap, plus you've been logging inside the platform that many of times, plus you actually want to the tutorials. We also have an academy. You've been doing all this different activity, then we can actually on-chain track it. I mean, we're using the snapshot and then give you access to a leaderboard. So we could say, okay, the person who actually referred, we also have this referrals program that is coming soon that we have been testing internally in the background. So it's like, okay, you referred 100 people this month, or like the past week, plus you provide value to those different pools, plus you have an NFT that you've been staking, all the different things that we have integrated. And then this can actually be accessible on the Avalanche chain.
Yeah, that sounds like a really great feature, and a great way to bring new users in. And I know you both talked about one of your goals is to really make access to DeFi easier for newer users. And I'd like to ask kind of what you see are the main challenges right now for brand new users coming into the DeFi ecosystem, and having access to these different programs and protocols. Where do you see as kind of the biggest hurdles and challenges that we face in terms of bringing in new users to the space?
Yeah, good question. I think the space has been maturing very fast, and we've seen a lot of different changes over the past few years. The first one was, I mean, I think like that was actually the first one to implement this feature of you can you can just log in using your email, and there's no concept of Web3 wallet. So no need for like specific MetaMask or whatever. You just logged in using your email, and then even if it's actually kind of like not entirely, but pure, like very close to decentralization using cloud HSM and all different things, you can just log in into the platform and have access to Web3. This is actually a major onboarding blocker that we killed in this one, because you don't need to download any specific feature. You can just use your mobile to go to the platform and then start being logged in. And then we have the on-ramp and off-ramp feature. The on-ramp feature, then we also build it. I mean, we integrate it like using ramp protocol. This is also like very functional. And then we'll have the other one, which is basically how to exit, which is the off-ramp. But in term, and then the next one, and this is what it actually comes, Avalanche comes into play. The next one is, okay, this is nice. Now I can get into the blockchain. I can use it. I mean, I can log in without understanding or having to understand, need to understand how blockchain works or having a Web2 wallet. But then how can I actually buy something, or if the gas and the speed, if the gas is actually super expensive, you don't want to mint or you want to buy an NFT, if the gas cost then will cost you $50 and all the different things. So this is actually where, for example, Avalanche can come into play, is then we actually profit from this kind of new type of blockchain, which is basically gas and speed. So we can make a lot of different transactions, and then those transactions don't necessarily cost much money. And this is where we actually, which is like all this kind of new type of consensus mechanism, and this is something that we are currently building on top of. And I think this is the next stage. Is like if you can first make easy for people to access the blockchain, access the different DeFi products, and then make them that they can use it without paying a bridge, like spending too much money to use it. Then it will be the next level of we'll be able to onboard not like 10 million, 100 million users, but like the next billion users that will be able to onboard. Apparently, according to statistics, that was like 200 million users worldwide in crypto that was onboarded in a couple of months or 6 months or a year. I'm not sure. I saw this number. But I think next, if we make blockchain usable without spending too much money on gas fees, then we're talking about 1 or 2 billion users.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where we're all headed, is trying to make things easier and accessible, faster, cheaper, so that more people can jump into this system. And following up on that, wanted to kind of hear a little bit more about how the future of Stake DAO is looking, and what some of the newer plans that you have coming up, especially with the DAO that you are a part of, and what are some of the cool new things that you have coming up in the next 6 months?
Yeah, I think it's no secret to anyone that if you're building decentralized exchange, then you want to build like most of the features of an exchange. So what we're really getting into now, it's like like getting a little bit stronger on our trading functionality. For now, we've been integrating a few different partners, and we offer the best quote on the market. Still spending some fees on the swap, and this is something that we want to eliminate. So, for example, if there is like an exchange coming on Avalanche, this will be integrating directly inside the order routing, then bridges. But what we really want to focus is two different areas. So trading, trying to build some features like on the trading area, derivatives, so offering some options, and like also like I mentioned, futures on the exchange. This can be of different types. So for example, you could long, short, or hedge, leverage on the different strategies, and also different assets that you have, different positions that you have in the world of DeFi, and of course, like offering a lot of different staking. I mean, providing more staking on the dApps side, and offering better strategies. So like more advanced strategies, deeper strategies that are leveraging as much as possible the world of DeFi potential.
Great. Yeah, there's a lot of great things coming up, and we're all looking forward to seeing all those come to life. Wanted to switch gears a little bit here to kind of in more relevant news. So one of the other projects that you're both involved with is Rect, and we obviously know what happened with the big hack yesterday. So security is a topic that's on everyone's mind, and I'd like to kind of hear a little bit more about the security.
Have you seen the last Poly one?
Yeah,
the Rect article.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
I mean, a bit sad because
I saw the Rect post too.
Oh yeah, Rect post was something else. But I mean, we almost made 1 billion. That would have been quite history. I mean, 600 is quite quite cheap.
Already the biggest in history. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear more about your thoughts on that and what the implications that has for the larger DeFi ecosystem and what your kind of take on that was, and then how you're looking to continue to secure your own platform as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had a call beginning of the year, or it was like last year, and people were asking me what would be the new types of hacks, and people were saying like, oh, this will be NFTs, and then we'll see like dApps being ranked. And I said, well, if we actually moving to this interoperability world where you have multiple different blockchain operating, and they all have bridges linking each other's, then this is where most of the hacks will go, because we're talking about millions, and not like just like millions in terms of like 10 million or 5 million, but if the bridge or if something is actually securing multi-billions worth of assets, then this is basically where people will be focusing most of their time to be able to exploit it. And this is exactly what happened yesterday with the Poly network. It's basically the thing is like we'll have more exploits, we'll have more people hacking into it, and this is the only way that we can make DeFi safe. It's like people, like over the past year and a half, they were like trying to say, oh, flash loan, we should stop flash loan because flash loan are bad, and because no, this is actually flash loan need to be seen as, in traditional finance, you have like big VCs, like considered as whales, and they used an enormous amount of funds and they make big arbitrage on the market. This is the same as having unlimited access, not unlimited access, but having huge access to money. And flash loan is exactly the same. No flash loan, no DeFi, and it's exactly what's happening right now. You have, because like those bridges will be securing, or those blockchain will be securing multi-billions assets worth of assets, then you can be 100% sure that it's very likely that most of the hackers will be spending weeks and months trying to see if there is an opportunity for an exploit. And this one that we've seen in Poly network, it's actually very advanced in the sense that the person who done it understand very nicely, understand low-level programming, and then could actually understand the implication of making sure that, for example, a manager, like a contract, could be, even if you whitelist a specific address, or you could actually make sure that it's like the pickle jar hack. It's like you come and you say, oh, you are this person, and the contract believes that you are this person. And this is the kind of hacks that are very fascinating, because this will happen more and more if we don't focus on. I mean, building a DeFi project is difficult because you need to not necessarily be good in programming, but also understand the cryptonomics and also the economic attacks. And this is actually what is make our space so fascinating, is because you can have the best like couple of lines of coding like that are super secure, but because this project, this DApp will operate in a world of, I call it like Disneyland, and it depends like how they are connected to each other. And then you might actually have the most secure piece of tech that you built, but because this piece of tech is operating in a wild west, then you might actually be at risk. And this is what happened yesterday. And we talked about 500 million, I mean 600 600 million US dollars, and this will have regulatory implication because now 600, almost half a billion US dollars being hacked, triggered. I mean, DeFi has been losing a lot of people are being wrecked and lost a lot of funds over the past few years. But when you have a company that lose half a billion US dollars in one shot, then obviously trigger a lot of legal regulation implications, and we have to expect a lot of institutions or regulatory framework being built or actually supporting their thesis about saying that DeFi is dangerous and all different things.
Hey, Julian, on top of that regulatory aspect, the one of the thing that's interesting is kind of what happened after the hack, right?
Yeah, the guy
moving the money around, yeah, moving the money around, trying to liquidity mine on Curve, doing all these things, but
I mean,
especially with what happened
yeah,
with Tether, right?
yeah. I mean, people have been
I
like,
mean, I'm
that's true. Like after the hack, I received like so many messages about Curve and saying, "Hey, can you guys stop the contract at Curve? Can you guys do all the different things?" And the thing is, like, Curve is fully permissionless. It's fully uh, you could take like maybe emergency DAO, like something making like, but the thing is like it's a protocol. It's being used for swapping assets, and it's a good question. Like USDT was immediately Paulo blocked the
Yep.
transfer of funds from the hacker to be able to send those funds because I mean Tether is not permissionless. It's they have fully control of the assets there, and they can do whatever they want. And but then it's good when someone steal money and then they can stop it. But then also like the vision of DeFi, like decentralized finance, is to be able to have something that cannot be stopped. So then it's always the question about, okay, where is the line? Where is the red line? Like the
I'm getting 2016 DAO vibes right now.
exactly the DAO, yeah.
Right, it's the same conversation, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
always the same
you
conversation. I
think
mean,
that
if you
there's
build backdoors, if you build something that you can stop, then you're basically giving tools to traditional finance to stop you. And
yep.
I mean, it's always like a mix between do you build? It's like saying, oh, we need to stop the access to internet globally, worldwide, because some people are using internet to buy guns and kill people. Well, the problem is not the internet. The problem is actually those people trying to use. They just use it as a tool, and then this is actually a real question. Like, for example, if Avalanche, there's a big hack, and validators have, as the proof of stake, have control of the chain, and if something bad happened, what would be the decision as a DAO? What would be the decision as all the validators? Will they actually stop the chain and then fork and then go somewhere else because then the hackers will lose all the money? And all the different questions is actually unknown. It's very difficult to answer them because it's always like, yeah, but what if someone is doing something bad? Then we need to stop him. Yeah, but at the same time, we build a tool that cannot be stopped. So what you're trying to say is, let's stop something that is against of what we're actually trying to do. Like this kind of yeah. It's a long. I think it needs a lot of philosophical reasoning and debate.
Yeah, it's very complicated, right? And it's very similar to what happened in 2016 with the DAO hack. And I like to think of like the chain as as a highway, or so to speak, and you
Yeah.
have some guy driving down it and he's a murderer. They can close down the road, right?
Yeah, but in 2016, we were like really early in the internet money. There was this concept of Bitcoin as being the money, but right now, I mean, like we are, yeah. What is it like 2022 right now? I mean, it's like
Structure.
it's yeah, it's like it's 5 6 years later, and the space has been matured a lot. And back then we were still like trying to understand. That was just like 2 years after the beginning of smart contracts being able to build money on internet. We're here now, like 5 or 6 years later, we're still trying to understand or trying to like what are we building? Are we really building a world where everyone can have access to, and at the same time no one can stop? Because if we actually moving in that direction, then there's like some really legal implication of that vision. If you cannot stop things, then it means you cannot stop them, or you maybe have a group of people like holders of tokens that can make decisions, but at the same time, if they can make decisions to stop it, then it's not actually fully decentralized because it's more like in the control of people. So that's a good question.
Yeah, I think it's something that we're just going to continue to grapple with going forward. From my perspective, I don't see a great solution, but I think we're all, trying to open up the system at this point, and I think hacks will be plentiful right now, but hopefully we learn from them as we go, and make smart contract coding better, make auditing better. I know
Yeah.
you guys got that leaderboard on Rect for all the auditors. Everybody can go check out and check out their track record. So
We need to update this leaderboard. Actually, I think we can build it. We can make it a little bit more. How to say that? Like sexy. Like filtering, like the amount of rate per month, like some nice graph over there. This is really. I mean, it's nice. We have like almost like 50 of them there. It's pretty impressive. Keep
yeah, showing like the
keep building,
background of the
guys.
auditors, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great tool to kind of access this information too. What just kind of going off that, is there anything in particular that you would recommend to other bridges or protocols that might run into the same issues, whether that be getting another third party auditor in right away, or things that you're doing in particular with your platform? Anything that you would recommend to other teams out there to make their platform safer in light of what happened
Oh,
yesterday?
yeah. I think. I mean, building a dApp such as uh, like an exchange, auto market maker, a lending platform, you can actually still isolate your code. Like you can build emergency shutdown mechanism because it's a dApp. But then if you're building a bridge, I think like building a bridge right now, because you're actually talking to two different chain, and you need to prove using some Merkle trees and signing transaction on the other chain and making sure it's using like a specific oracle. If you're trying to build it in a very trustless way and not adding like a multisig, the multisig, you trust the people running the multisig. But if the people are really public spaces, then you can make sure like, and they don't really like each other or whatever, so they don't actually bribe each other to run away with the bridge money. But if you actually build something trustless, then it requires a lot of understanding of the low level programming. And this is not something that you go on GitHub or whatever and you start forking a few contracts, or you really need to understand, you really need to have like an embedded system, like computer science, not computer science, but like more embedded system, how like low level programming works, because otherwise you will really likely get wrecked. And that's why it's very important that you at least get two different auditors, but two different auditors that are not having the same scope of area of expertise. So maybe one is more like specialized in mathematics and a little bit of programming, and one is more like specialized in cryptonomics and economics, because this is very important. And if you don't have those two different auditors, and I believe like the auditors that have been, I used to do work a lot of auditors, and yeah, you really need two different type of skills. Otherwise, they won't. Someone that can read, someone that can read smart contracts and code, and find like maybe some little mistakes and errors, not necessarily means that it will basically make your contract safe, because you have so many things that can happen low level, especially in bridges.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think from an infrastructure perspective, I'm kind of curious on your thoughts, Julian. As the world's kind of going more multi-chain, and we have a lot of these movements from chain to chain, and that interoperability continuing. Are we kind of making the system and that as a whole more vulnerable with these bridges, sort of that hub and spoke kind of issue that we have? Like we're kind of putting all the dependencies on these bridges, which don't have the same consensus type layers as the actual chains. Are we actually creating more vulnerabilities with all these bridges versus just using the chains directly?
Well, of course, it's like, I mean, it's like It's like saying you have two pieces of
How do we solve it, right?
yeah, I mean, if you, and the thing is, like, actually, multiple people will be, I think that will be like a phase of a project will be, and this is what we're seeing already happening is projects raising a lot of money for building bridges. Before there was ICO were project building tokens, and then we moved to DeFi, so decentralized finance with like dApps building on a specific chain. And then we've seen also a little bit like so far over the past 9 months, 6 months, the NFT craziness. So like NFTs building on a specific chain. And now that we have blockchains that are running natively the EVM, so it's easy for people to bring smart contracts from the Ethereum to the blockchain. So now people now there's this race of bridges, and now we're seeing like a lot of different projects that are building bridges specifically for talking to two different blockchain, or more importantly, to actually talking to all the people, the ones that are supporting the EVM, so they can reach out to a bigger market cap. And what's happening right now is like all those different projects have their own different implementation. It's like in layer two, they have different implementation, but it's really difficult to understand what is the scope of each of those different blockchain, understanding that they're all safe or not. So you have people that use those different bridge to cross from different blockchain. But when you have a bridge, they have different type of implementation. You have some that actually burn the token, some that mint the asset, and all different things. So I think like those bridges actually they are needed because you want them in a world of having multiple different blockchains. You want to be able to cross asset arbitrage, having exchange that can operate different. You might have a blockchain that offer super fast transaction. You have one that offer fully uncontrollable, permissionless privacy. You have one that offer the slowest, I mean the cheapest gas fee and all different things. But at the end of the day, those bridges are actually right now adding an extra layer of complexity on the top of the existing blockchain, and obviously you're bringing a security concern. But at the same time, you want it because then you otherwise you're isolated in your own world. So that's what it's and like DeFi or like those big projects like on for example on like Curve, Aave, and all different things. The only reason right now that they are safe is because they've been operating for quite some time, and they have more than 1 or 2 or 5 billion US dollars at stake, meaning that for a hacker or for someone, the incentive to try to steal the money is super high. So the more money that is actually there, the more safe it is. But today or yesterday, we saw that the biggest crypto hack ever of 600 million. So at the same time, this project was too fast. I mean, too big to fail. Well, this one actually got hacked.
Yeah, no, it's a good way of putting it. Yeah, we're coming up on time, but I'd just like to really switch gears real quick on just a higher level question of the space. I know you focus a lot of your time specifically on DeFi, but Web3 can be a lot more for people in the future. What are your thoughts on kind of the next thing for people to focus on? Is it social? Is it intermediating Ubers and Airbnbs? A lot of these infrastructure pieces are here now, and there's a chance that we can actually do what we thought we'd do in 17.
Like
I'm kind of curious on your thoughts.
Like change the world and not change the finance.
Yeah, like I mean, there could be additional things to do. Do you think that's something that people are working on and actually have a shot at doing in the near term, or do you think we're far away?
Yeah, that's interesting because I remember like when there was the early days of smart contracts and the first projects, and you can see like all the hackathons and all people building projects, they were like in all like non-profits, like there was no concept of money. There was like identity, there was like
Social
social
media,
media,
music.
music, like all of them. And then suddenly
Yeah.
DeFi came and killed the vibe and killed the dream of most of the what blockchain was built for. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think it's like the reason why we have Uber and like Airbnb and all the different projects is because we add the financial revolution, like in the 80s, 90s, and this is what actually a huge amount of capital came in, and then we had this American subprime crisis in 2009, like the US collapsed and make this entire tsunami of worldwide financial crisis, and then we saw this sharing economy coming. I'm not sure, like if we, I mean, a lot of different projects, a lot of different people are talking about it. I mean, Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, has been mentioning this for the past, I don't know, like 3, 4, 5 years. Let's decentralize Twitter. Okay, he's been mentioning it, and now he's like saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, I would decentralize Twitter using something new, something like built on top of Bitcoin." I mean, he's probably
Well,
talking.
Ave mentioned it as well, right?
Yeah. So my point is like exactly like Aave has been saying, okay, potentially building like social media using NFT. I think there's a potential, like right now what is really burning is the NFT, and probably socially speaking. I mean like in the social way, that's what like most of the retail is, you know, like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all these different things. So there is a lot of value there. And then if we start entering transaction that and not costly, we could get into those like arts, music, like all those different area of the industry. And since like a lot of different big institutions or like big regulation, like the Fed, the SEC, and all the different like the ONU, like United Nations, the European Commission, like all different people are actually now talking of crypto, and now crypto is not before like last year, like 2 or 3 years ago, like you mentioned crypto, people were like, oh wow, this is like a scam, you know, or like blockchain and Bitcoin, oh wow, it's a scam. Now we're like, okay, cool, let's what's the deal? You know, oh, I actually invest some money into it. So now people are, it's changing the people. It takes 10 years to change people's mind, and it's already happening. Well, now like I think as social, it can be big, and like Mark Zuckerberg mentioned, they want to go metaverse, like Facebook as a future in the metaverse. I think they're facing a lot of competition right now. Facebook, like you can see, like on and I can see like Twitter going up, and so yeah, I think social is good, but if we could decentralize like those big, what the ideology or the vision of internet was supposed to peer to peer, people to people, and really remove the middleman. If we can do that on a broader scope, for example, all the different products that we use on every single day, for example, like Airbnb, Uber, BlaBlaCar, and all different concepts, then that would be great. Yeah. So then moving from the layer zero, which is basically like banks, Swift, Visa, Mastercard, and even like I'm sure like Visa, they are apparently like going to accept stable coins and crypto, but basically trying to bring those the vision of the real internet, that if this can happen in 2020, that would be fantastic. Yeah, but we might actually need
Yeah, that's well said.
another collapse, well, in order to do that, we'll need a collapse of the economy again, and this is like not, this is like not far, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe you need like a lot of those web
I mean, we had
companies that
COVID.
have kind of become large.
Look, we didn't have
That's
like the
true.
American crisis like 2009, but if you look at 10 years later, like 11 years later, we have COVID, and in 2 years times we never seen so much happening in a blockchain space, because people were like locked at home in front of the screen and not just partying in Paris for 10 days, for example. And yeah, they built a lot. And actually, COVID was actually the biggest economy like crisis. But this actually triggered the new area of DeFi, like Curve, Aave, all the biggest projects that now hold 10 or 20 billion US dollars. Actually, where the only reason why this happened is because of COVID, because of this crisis.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really and I think you said it well. And I think maybe we needed some of these DeFi pieces in place to be able to kind of move to some of these other Web3 things that we can do in the future. But I know we're coming up on time. Those are all my questions, Julian. This is really fun from my side. I don't know if Kyle's got anything, but I really appreciate you coming on, talking with us, and I
That
really look
was
forward to
fantastic,
continue to
man.
working with you, man.
Keep
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
keep pushing. You guys are fantastic. I like the community as well. Really engaged community.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
We're,
that's awesome.
we're
Thank
excited
you.
to bring these communities together. And Julian and Hatashi, thank you for jumping on with us. I guess one final thing is where should everybody go to learn more information if they haven't used the platform yet? What's the best place to kind of join your community and learn more about Stake DAO?
Yeah, I mean, stakedao.org. They go to the website and they can either send us some feedback directly on the website, or they can click and then have access to the bottom of the page to the Telegram, the Twitter, the Discord, and then we are really friendly people. We operate 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and 365 days a year. And feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to answer your any questions. And also, if you want to send some love or whatever, then it will be fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. You guys should do that. Just to clarify a bit, on the top right hand side of the platform, there's a little button where you can submit ideas or feedback. But in the footer, we also have academy.stakedao.org, which is for people who are maybe not so used to DeFi or crypto in general. And it's completely free. It's like a series of articles written by people very deep in the space, explaining basic concepts, going up to stuff which is a bit more intermediate and advanced. And we also have a YouTube channel with some tutorials and stuff like that, in terms of learning how to contribute to Stake DAO and also utilize the services that we offer. So
guys, check out the Academy. I'm not sure if you guys probably never seen something like that. And we should actually write something about Avalanche there.
Absolutely. That's I was just going to say. Guys should keep your eyes out because there's some interesting stuff coming there soon.
Ooh, some alpha.
Okay. Yeah, there's some spots open for more.
All right, we better end this now.
Some sneak pics of Luigi from Paris.
Yeah.
Oh no! Those are NFTs.
Oh, okay.
Those are staked. Well, thanks guys for joining us. It was really awesome to get to know more about your platform, your community, what you're looking forward to doing, why we're bringing this partnership together with Avalanche, and looking forward to see more what comes of Stake DAO. And so everyone go check out stakedao.org and join their social communities. You can join the Avalanche social communities, Telegram, Discord, here on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. So thanks for joining the Avalanche Q&A with Stake DAO, and we will talk to you all soon.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Cheers.